requirements of Section 76 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and genuine concerns about the effect of rationalizing some entities on actual service delivery. I also want to urge the ministers to ensure that they do thorough analysis of the aforementioned concerns and not to trade blames.
The Speaker made the remarks in reference to the recent media reports that a number of members of Parliament were bribed by government agencies to broker their rationalization.
In the same vein, I urge the relevant sector ministers to always be present in the House. You cannot say the House has rejected, the House has been bribed, when you are not in the House. Legislation is done in the House, not in Cabinet. When much as we know that you are the ones who bring the bills, the legislation is done in the House. Stop blaming our members. If you're failing to do your work, you're failing. It is not the members who are failing.
For the last 2 weeks, Parliament has been legislating on the RAPEX bills in which the government moved to rationalize over 30 agencies and departments.
Overall, the House has so far considered 29 RAPEX bills, of which 22 were passed, 8 were rejected, and 7 were withdrawn by executive. I want to urge executive to carefully study the concerns of the House and address them. And notably, these concerns were: 1, the quality of drafting of these bills. I'm talking to executive. 1, the quality of drafting these bills.
The Speaker further wondered that she doesn't know whether some of ministers were just appointed to come only to see and go, and badmouth, arguing the executive to always appreciate the legislative efforts of Parliament as a compliment to the executive.
And I want to thank the ministers who have consistently been here. Daudi, you've been here. It's unfortunate that Henry traveled. The government whip was here. I got an apology from Honorable Charo Musa. Parliament is not a theatre of legislation, and therefore legislative matters concern and are best addressed in this House, not addressed somewhere, and we should always regard government business as a priority, and that is pursuant to Rule 25(1) of the Rules of Procedure.
Gntv at 12.
Thank you, Desire, for that report. And in more news, members of Parliament have questioned the Speaker of Parliament, Her Right Honourable Anita Among, to present the report from the International Specialized Hospital, Uganda, in Ulboa. This comes after the opposition members of Parliament have been denied access to the hospital, and the Speaker also promised to present the report. We'll take a look.
Right, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I'm glad that you have guided government, that when they have issues with us as the legislature, bring them to the House. The same way when we have issues, we bring them here with the hope that action gets to be taken, like the matters that are being raised, disaster issues. Hopefully government gets to take action. Honourable Speaker, I request that you procedurally guide on a particular issue. On 26th of February, it was a Monday, I went with a team of members of parliament to the site of Lubowa Specialized Hospital to do our oversight role as members of parliament to establish what's going on there and give a report to parliament. I came and gave a report to parliament to the effect that we were denied access to the precincts of that place. The Minister of State for Finance, the Honorable Henry Musasi, is here. Among the updates he gave to this House was that we have so far injected over $156 million through promissory notes. That's over 600 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, one of the accountability committees we lead, Park Central, has been trying to access these premises to do our work as Parliament, and they have still been denied access. Honorable Speaker, I ask that you guide procedurally whether this government is not duty-bound to account to this country, because we cannot inject over 600 billion shillings into a project you don't want us to access as members of Parliament to play our oversight role, and yet you keep coming back to Parliament asking for more money. For what exactly? Why can't you account? Why can't government account over this project? What's so unique about it? We are going to discuss a supplementary schedule where you're asking us for money for different projects. How, as Parliament, are we supposed to give a green light for money to be injected in projects if you cannot account? Honorable Speaker, I request that you guide on this matter. Government should be able to account. This is a lot of money that we are talking about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, I requested the Deputy Speaker to go to Lubowa. You went. Don't say he didn't go. You are not his bodyguard. He went and he has a report to that effect. Two, the contractor of Lubowa was changed. And the contractor, we want to give him time. I have been in a discussion with the chairperson of the committee.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, we would like to defend you as our leader, as the leader of the legislature. Because
meanwhile, the other time we were talking about Nambole, there is a testing game tomorrow. Let's go and watch the testing game to see where our money went.
They'll give us an update. What I was saying, Right Honorable Speaker, is that as head of this institution, we would like to defend you. We want government to account for this money. They should not let you, the Speaker, carry their burden. Because we give this money to you, government, the Speaker should not be accounting for you as government. Please do account for the 600 billion shillings. Carry your cross.
So,
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you very much. Reporting in Parliament is guided by our rules. When a committee reports, what happens? We don't have a rule on what happens when it is the presiding officer reporting. I wanted to
Honorable members, kindly listen to...
So, Madam Speaker, I wanted to be guided because a report sometimes attracts questions. When the Deputy Speaker reports...
They attract what? Questions and reactions?
Yeah. So when it is the Deputy Speaker reporting, what do we do with that report? Because first of all, the rules don't allow presiding officers to debate.
We asked the Deputy Speaker to go and find out the status. And he will bring it in his communication. And you will react to that effect. And just like you react even when you say anything, you react to it. But that does not mean that we are going to permanently stop people from going there. We have to go there.
So, Madam Speaker, what is disturbing me is that if we set a precedence that the Speaker will be the one to be allowed to follow these projects, now we shall in future be overwhelmed that members of the committees will always be barred from doing their work, and they wait for the speakers to come. So what the guidance I'm seeking, whether this one will not be referred to in the future to stop other committees from doing the work.
There is an order.
The one that has
Clinton now, Gntv at Parliament.
Thank you, Clinton Nahawe, for that report from the Parliament. Still, members of Parliament have come out to ask the government of Uganda to put and pass the bill of minimum wage so that workers can always commemorate Labor Day when they are always happy and satisfied with what they are doing. Today, Uganda celebrates World Labor Day in the city of Fort Portal. We take a look.
As the world today commemorates the day of Labor Day in Uganda, the day will be celebrated and commemorated in the city of Fort Portal, Western Uganda. Some members of Parliament have come out to give their view on the Labor Day. As we talk to Honorable Mwesigwa Robert Rukal, the member of Parliament representing the people of Mbara City North, called for youth to embrace these government projects that were established to develop the country, like a PDM and skilling hubs.
N'izuba ryo kujaguza kw'abakozi munsi yona Uganda imyete y'umunamba Uganda kandi imyete kinamani imyenda ngo twari mu gishogo pabure imyeto n'abanyarwanda bona abakozi ngo twejumbiremo aha bwo kuba Uganda twinumugisha waranga katensi nungi tukosamani wenda hakataka kwasa kuhinga kutamujya kwasa kuhinga abitemu kandi uyu numurimo akwateki ahubwo kuba imirimo ni mike kandi ka government yo negezaho kuronda ba investors kugira ngo batemu industries nyingi barete factories nyingi mu Uganda kwenda ngo tutunje bakweta backward and forward linkages wano hinga ejo nemirimo warete ibihingwa byawe ukabiguza no watasa kandi kuba baguza batankahi ayibakwata fita value addition baka processing con factory zezo nazo tunga imirimo y'imyeto so nenda ko kakenda kwabura imyeto nuba koshonireki nari kiriya wana wasa kutunga umugisha kongereraho ukatunga skill ndijo ni kuyamba bagira ngo wabo rwobo utayoba nambwe nenda kwebaza program za government ukukira program ya state house yo kuskiringa program ya yuri yo kuskiringa na program za Ministry of Trade izwa kwegesa abantu eby'umukono kwenda ngo waba notasi akacaha wasukuri kingi tunyitasa yo kukirayo.
However, members of Parliament like Honorable Nyakato Asenansi, the woman member of Parliament representing the people of Hoima City, Honorable Bet Ether Nalima, woman member of Parliament representing the people of Wachiso, and Honorable Kwizera, all raised their concerns about Labor Day, saying that Uganda should always embrace this day and workers should always have minimum wage so that they can also celebrate this day when they are happy.
With this high cost of living, entahiri nkitomono kandi ebitukolesa ebitukolesa bakuli kaiguru muno cost of living tukusaba government teke muno esira amani ansonga yokurura teke minimum wage omuntu omeregi nti ngenda akwa munani nkoro kwa house munani nkoro kwa samba boy munani nkora mu radio nkora mu TV at least ebitomono tinkusemera kugenda hasi sentence nuko tuleke ku want to explain abantu maybe na skills zabo kandi tuteleki bakufuna kandi twabakozesa tufuna mu kusinga
nganaffe kenyini abogera leero ngale tunajja wano siko mu sebiri nga Parliament ensonga ya minimum wage tujogerako ngera tukireeta naye nakati tulinze minister wa gender atuleetere kwekyo kyebalabye nti ddala tekirina okuba nga kisookebwako mu nsonga za minimum wage nti newabanga mwana akola waka n'omanya nti oba tosobola kusobola ssente bweziti ate tomukozesa n'omanya nti wabe driver nga tumukozesa wano obanga omuntu omulala yenna amukozesa tiweziba ssente bweziti tomukozesa so ensonga ya minimum wage okiraba nakyo bbanja so kyembagamba Uganda mu mbeera gy'erimu tennatuusa kutandika ng'egenda mu maaso ng'ejaganya bujaganya kyekiseera efumiitiriza tutaddewo tutya workforce etegeerekeka
ati ekiro ky'abakozi kwane twijuka abakozi turi kwibuka ekiro ky'abakozi kandi nikyenda ngo twijuke ebintu ebiri kukwata abakozi. So mu Uganda waza kureba ebiri kukwata abakozi ngo niko kumara niko kuzize ritual abo kuba tinkureba eky'abakozi bakuba nibagobamo kiyaho gushati minimum wage umushara bagureba abakozi abinje ibintu ibibuzo byinshi bakwigaruka. So ekiro cy'abakozi cyo kubera kugira ngo umuntu emikorere yabo mbwe nko kuba kwakwata nko kuba kwashashura na kotsi zabo leba kotsi zikori uko kugira ngo umwe nakora abura nezo kutambuza abura nezo kurana na accommodation cyo cyenda ngo bijyo tunge umushara ogushemerire konkati mu Uganda abantu batunga emishara etakwingana kandi etashemeriye. So ni cyane ngo Uganda ekitema mani erebe ngo kugira ngo umukozi aze gukora nabana itage ikindi kikatu cyumuhereza akore kandi akoreje konkati waza no kwiruka Labor Day kandi bona batashemirirwa aho ka Labor Day bona bazo nabo babihiga. So ni cyane ngo Labor Day abakozi bashemiriye.
It's remembered that annually this Labor Day is commemorated across the country, though some laborers in the country are still poor. To Ronald, Gntv at Parliament.
We appreciate you to hear Ronald for that report from the Parliament. Now, in other news, the Democratic Party has embarked on the party membership registration across the country at only 2,000 Ugandan shillings. The party General Secretary Gerard Siranda has called for unity among the party members as the party embarks on the exercise. We report.
The Democratic Party General Secretary Gerard Siranda called for unity among the party members as the party embarks on the membership registration exercise. While speaking to press yesterday at City House in Kampala, Siranda, who is also a member of East African Legislative Assembly, said that it was resolved at the party National Executive Committee (NEC) on April 19, 2024 in Mbale that the party finds a solution to the internal conflicts so that they can create harmony within the party. On disagreements within the party, Siranda said that there have been disagreements even before the current leadership, and this is not just for DP as a party. He emphasized that if any claims that they are party members without being in party registers, they will not be allowed to participate in any party voting activities. Siranda said that membership is renewed every year, and for members to register, they now have to part with only Uganda shillings 2,000 to buy a membership card as registration goes on till the end of May 2024. The Democratic Party has joined the rest of the political parties that have embarked on processes of engaging their party members in grassroots registrations and mobilization after the NRM and National Unity Platform launched their election roadmaps recently.
And of course, all Eastern Uganda districts have received the materials, the books for membership registration, all Eastern Uganda districts. 90% of the districts of the northern Uganda have received. For instance, the districts of Omoro have received the registers. The districts of Agago have received the registers. The districts of Noya has received the registers. The district of Padel has received the registers. Kitugum has received the registers. So then we're only Amuru has received registers. So the whole actually sub-region has taken registers. The district of West Nile, 70% have received registers under the leadership and guidance of our district the vice president in charge of the East, in charge of the West, the Honorable Alitia area. In central Uganda, Lango, all the districts of Lango, the books have been delivered. through Honorable Pascal Grace Agwang, the NEC representative for Lango Sub-Region. The districts of Karamoja, out of 90% have received the register through the NEC member, Honorable Akong Josephine. The districts of Eastern have received registers under the supervision of Vice President for the East, but all chairpersons received these registers. And of course, the districts of areas of Busoga with Honorable Ismail Kiria, all those now as a caretaking with the supervision of this. And you know why Eastern? That's where we held our National Executive Committee, and that's where I come from, and all of us are going to make sure that these processes are done. The districts of Central, Greater Mitiana, has already taken the books through our NEC representative, the Honorable Ronald Sevana Muini. We are in a process, Uganda, Masaka area, and all the other districts. The books are going to be sent to the district chairpersons through the district chairpersons, constituencies, and all the levels. But also, all the materials are available. They will be here at our national headquarters, but also our Balintuma campaign secretariat. We are also going to be launching our online soft version, so that the book you have seen here, you can now access it online to help many of our diaspora members that are out there. And immediately you fill in, it will send us a signal for us to okay the paying of the card. And then of course, there are party membership cards for this year. All our party membership cards, they have the stamp, the signature of the party president and the signature of the Secretary General as a person that is dispatching the cards. So all members, once you enter into the register, after entering into the register, you must now enter into, So it's a long process, but we want members to know. It is from here that we know the base, that you are in a database. Then you enter the final in terms of a summarized form. That's how we run a modern party. We don't just say, Jaja wange yaliwa DP. No, we cannot tell. We know that your Jaja was DP, you did well.
The Asimwe, Gntv, at Gotv.
Thank you, Desire, for that report. And in other news, the Public Procurement and Disposal Assets Authority has begun sensitizing the public on how they can fully participate in the public procurement. This initiative targets the youth, women, persons with disabilities, and the local providers. We bring you details to the story.
Who have a reservation scheme for the women, for the youth, and for persons with disabilities. And that percentage which has been reserved has not been operationalized so much. Now we are saying the women have been empowered and they need to be involved in procurement processes. It's not to say that many of them have not been involved. I know women are in areas of supplies, in areas of catering, some of them on road maintenance as well. And maybe in schools, they are building things like the toilets and ABCD. But I want to say that the women are out there who are able to carry out high procurement areas, and we want to pray that the PPDA guidelines will really be involved in them, and they will be sensitized on how to get into these procurement processes. So me as a minister, I am happy because these reserved positions for women, youth, and people with disabilities is going to be a critical arm in helping government enhance the procurement process and participation of women in the economic space. But I want to pray that the spaces for women involvement sometimes is clogged because either your husband comes and takes over and that kind of thing. But it will be reported that it will be a 51% share by a woman, and then you can be sharing with maybe the men in the same company, but the woman should have 51% of that share in order to get this kind of procurement contract. So I want to pray that our women get involved. Thank you.
This group participates in public procurement. And in that line, a certain percentage, actually 15% of the public procurement budget must be spent on this group, and also contracts below 30 million in terms of central government entities, and contracts below up to 10 million in terms of local government entities must be reserved for competition amongst youth, women and persons with disabilities. And also you can see we were having representatives of the youth, representatives of persons with disabilities, including the Honorable Minister, also representatives of women, including UN Women, which actually promotes this agenda. So the message is that what are we going to do as PPDA? We must have this group registered so that they are identified in all the regions, in all the districts. We must provide, we are going to provide simplified bidding document and requirements. They are not supposed to get bid securities, for example. They must have a bid securing declaration form. They just feel that they will not jump out of this bidding process if we are awarded. They must be known through registration in terms of the PPDA registration, so that they are in our national register, and whoever wants to pick from this group, they know where to get to them. And essentially also call upon other government agencies on providing supportive products. For example, financing. How can they get financing? For example, how if I want to register with the Uganda Registration Service Bureau, can we get free registration without fee?
Procurement. This research was carried out in 5 countries, including Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. Across all these countries, we found out that only 1% of women-led businesses participate and win contracts. We also found out that among the hindrances were lack of access to information, lack of capacity, among others. We also found out that even countries that already had a reservation scheme like Tanzania and Kenya, still women were not participating. In Uganda, we were glad that recently, after the amendment of the PPDA law, there was a reservation that was made for women to encourage them to participate. That was a 15%. And recently, guidelines were passed by PPDA on how to implement this reservation scheme. This is, from our evidence, we see that this is not enough. And so as Africa Freedom of Information Center, currently we are implementing a project which is called the LIFT project, which we are doing in partnership with PPDA. Under this project, we aim to increase the women's participation in public procurement in Uganda. And today, this breakfast meeting was aimed at launching a report that we got from an assessment of a pilot study that we made across 4 entities. And we also found out, for example, in Bara, that out of the 56...
It's not going to be you competing with Sudil, not you competing with Wavamuno, but the advantages that you're going to get reserved for you. But there is still some more work. And where is that work? It is that, number one, you cannot compete if you don't have a formal business. And so we are now going to URSB to say, how do we make sure that we waive registration fees for women's businesses in the villages, for youth businesses in the villages? I am very happy that the steps we are taking today are the steps that we need to take to develop our country. We cannot talk about creating jobs without talking about facilitating the environment that makes it easy for a young person, for a young woman, for a person with disability to own a business and have a marketplace. If government is having some money, it's procuring textbooks, it's procuring desks, why don't young people bring those? There are many young people who are into carpentry, there are many young people who are into welding. If you're procuring windows, those contracts that are below 30 million.
Za Asimwe, Gntv at 12.
Thank you, Desire. And in other news, the Ntungamo Resident District Commissioner Geoffrey Mchunguzi has advised parents in Ntungamo District and across the country to always support and promote their children's education. He said this at the Thanksgiving ceremony of Captain Wilberforce Alinitwe Kisoso in Kasana, Rugama, Ntungamo District. We take a look.
Ntungamo District Resident Commissioner RDC Kada Geoffrey Mchunguzi has emphasized the transformative power of education, urging parents to prioritize the schooling of their children. Speaking at the Thanksgiving service of Captain Wilberforce Alinitwe Kisoso in Rugarama Sub-County, Ntungamo District, held at St. Luke's Kasana Church of Uganda, Kada Geoffrey Mchunguzi underscored education as the primary conduit bridging socio-economic disparities. Kada Geoffrey Mchunguzi commended parents of Alinitwe Wilberforce Kisoso for their unwavering commitment to their children's education, acknowledging that their investment had yielded commendable returns as their child now stands capable of reciprocating their care.
Kandi ngenda kuhamiza oratashobese mwana we umwiro kwa President Museveni okutera munonga omama nyine yihanga Janet Kata Museveni ari Minister of Education nogoko ryo murokore nogoko ryo mukiristoro kushaba esapuri izoba nogoko ryo musiramu rukusare n'undi etano mwizoba takosha rwa gatano ngenda kuhamiza mwigurutorozayo abukuri yava nozongoza. It's very clear. Oriza mwiguru wabo inabana batashumire warabana bakinguza hoza motoka warabana batwara bazere wabo kashugari waro murokore naho kuruzu ngwabana bakwere Kampala.
He expressed gratitude of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of Uganda, for introducing the Universal Primary Education UPE and Universal Secondary Education USE programs, which have significantly expanded access to education for Ugandan citizens. In addition to advocating for education, Kada Geoffrey Mchunguzi issued a stern rebuke against alcoholism among parents, identifying it as a detrimental factor hindering the provision of scholastic materials and other essential necessities for children's education.
Omuntu narema ebitabo by'omwana boko mukajeje yamira obujoko busha obarere muje yamire za iko ishatu nariyena ezo nzikore ebitabo bingaye ayitire kuje mahakomere bokuzobwira mizonke ushanga mwabakazi 9 n'abashiri 10 ogiza hamwe mu ishomero urukiko n'urukiko rw'Enkungu ushanga mwabakazi 8 n'abashiri 20 okikabara ushanga abashiri 9 n'abakazi.
During the service, Ordinand Abraham Ndiamhachi of Kitala Church of Uganda in All Saints Cathedral, Kampala, emphasized the importance of prayer alongside education, advocating for divine guidance throughout the education journey. The Thanksgiving event held at Kasana in residence of Wilberforce Kisoso saw not only friends and families but also dignitaries including Lilian Ilteraho, the resident district commissioner of Kaga district. During the function, Lilian Luteraho emphasized the critical role of education. Lilian Luteraho highlighted the enhanced life opportunities enforced by education, attainment, and urged parents to view education as essential for their children's future success.
Bare kushoma kandi ukahendere mishomo yawe mukama simwe yebare nonga muzara abana mbashomesa abo kuba mwino bwenje kandi ate sente nubwo mwazitandika mahatu wiruba oriyo mukama semu nambo no mukarukanjo ino kunteramo abakube mukagwe yaine nizo sente zajirata nizija hatu mwishine wiruba naje cyamba we sente tukuzuruna na twireta mushomesa abana bandi Mkorechi ati ono jamu naniza kufuta kurugoko yona hato kungo atashomera mushanja kwindaje na yanashora nchiro na nyetashi takunyeta ashina nyeta aradise mutoche kwa president ngo yono shora nchiro njo nepo yabashambo baza ashino nyeta ninja bwaha echo mwachetegereza mushomesa chi.
Captain Wilberforce Alnitwe Chisoso shared his challenging educational journey culminating on his graduation from Kubis Aviation College in Entebbe, Kampala. That his perseverance through the difficulties time, particularly during COVID-19 pandemic, underscored his dedication. Captain Alnitwe Wilberforce Chisoso is not only a pilot but also a media personality, contributing to Gntv in Kamkuzimbarara, where he hosts political shows and many other.
N'abantu bici munonga hata nacha mungambi watu bai watu ninzagerere konge chingwenda ninyenda ku nyetefudere hano yabona nebo n'umukazi wawe kode isha n'umukazi wawe mukuratwa Kampala friends forever wishanuya professor manyeri sana yedu kufuga hati nonyimaliza wa professor wa RDC Vice President Can you imagine?
For GNTV at 12, Clinton Nawe in Ntungamo district.
Thank you, Clinton Nahawe, for that report from Ntungamo district. And our dear viewers of GNTV, thanks for being part of us from the time we started to the time we are coming to the end of our today's bulletin. I'm ALLIAN ATUBANDIIZE, GNTV at 12. And up next is a lunch hour service at King of Kings Church. Please come and attend. Have a blessed afternoon.